Here in Alaska, we have the highest percentage of veterans in the entire country. In addition, one of every 3 people here, according to the Department of Veterans Affairs, is either military or a dependent. This means that thousands of people are dealing with the effects of post-combat mental health challenges each and every day. Tonight, we meet an Alaska veteran whose return from combat was full of personal struggles, including impacts of post-traumatic stress disorder. He's sharing his story of climbing that mountain in the hopes he might inspire others to do the same. John Anderson is a retired lieutenant colonel and U.S. Air Force pilot, a 21-year veteran of the military.
After pilot training, it was up to Eielson, up in Alaska, up in Fairbanks. And then from there went on to being in the Pennsylvania Air National Guard.
These days, where you find him, you'll also likely find Keena. Despite Anderson's fond memories of his time in the service, she has become a lifeline after his departure from combat.
My mom knew I kind of had the flying bug early on. But for the airplane itself, the A-10, that was pretty much what I wanted out of pilot training. And I got lucky enough to be able to fly it and basically make a full career out of it.
You see, Anderson was a teenager when he joined the military, following in the footsteps of his father. In 1995, his first deployment to Kuwait.
I mean, it's a good career.
But while his journey is one full of adventure, in 2003, a mission turned traumatic too, leading to a weight he would silently carry for more than a decade.
We were calling in for clearance and we were given permission to shoot each time a call on a radio that we listened to on the guard frequency came across, and basically a frantic call of ceasefire, ceasefire.
His family, the lone holders of his secret, until he shared it with fellow veteran and Alaskan Kirk Alkire.
It was obvious that John had struggled in the last 15 years.
As Alkire would find out, Anderson was part of a friendly fire incident on March 23, 2003. That left 10 fellow Americans dead.
It's kind of sickening, makes the stomach churn. Even though we were cleared of all things, it's tough to live with the fact that you killed innocent soldiers that were trying to help, and you were trying to help.
Eventually, a decision to pursue healing and see hope even through the hurt.
Most veterans, if they're here today, it's because they chose to stay.
Ultimately, it came to a point where I just kind of broke down, and I needed to do something. I needed to find some way, some sort of help.
Enter Gold Star Peak.
It's been a kind of a dark journey for him. He was trying to navigate the hidden scars of war that many of us veterans suffer with.
For Anderson, an opportunity. With Keena on his heels, he would install a monument dedicated to the 10 lost.
Unload the burden of what I've been carrying around, to look at this monument and, hope and pray that, it honored those men and their family.
But with that, counseling and Keena,
taken a long time. It's not something that's been easy.
He's climbed his own mountain and received a new lease on life.
But the hardest part is actually making that first step on your own.
I'm thrilled to tell you that Anderson says he is doing much better today, but is still on his path toward healing. And that looks different for everyone. So what options do you have if you're looking for help? We set out to find out what you can do if you or family members or friends are trying to get back on the right track.
All that we can do to embrace our men and women in the military who are here, serving their country, far away from home, is really important.
For the 70,000 or so veterans who make up more than 13% of Alaska's population, the risks associated with combat are found even after leaving the service.
More veterans per capita than any state in the country, which is a great thing for our state. But we also have some of the highest suicide rates in the country.
The person goes through a change and they come back changed.
The National 2019 Annual Warrior Survey shows a whopping 82.8% of participating veterans experienced post-traumatic stress disorder as a health problem, and almost 91% experienced a severe mental injury during their time in the military.
Combat's not normal. If anybody says it is, I don't. It's just not normal.
We need to recognize these are wounds of war, just like being shot. is.
There is no quick fix for a challenge as complex as PTSD, but there are ways to get help. If trying to assist someone else going through a tough time after combat, check on them and consider suggesting looking into treatment, participating in raising awareness of PTSD, or simply encouraging the vet to join a support group. And if you're looking for help for yourself, first, recognize that that is okay.
It's a broader issue. It's not necessarily resources, but it's stigma.
They just don't want to even bring it up, and so a lot of times they'll suffer silently.
The National Center for PTSD says it can be helpful to research your options. Perhaps seek therapy, but definitely look into support groups or healthy ways of socializing with other veterans. Alaskans can try the Chris Kyle Patriots Hospital and the Department of Veterans Affairs for mental health services, or programs such as the American Legion, Gold Star Peak Inc., and the ASYMCA of Alaska for social interaction.
I remember my grandmother used to tell me a stitch in time saves 9. You know, sometimes a few minute session might be able to take care of something, whereas if you isolate yourself, it becomes really bad.
The first step can be one of the most difficult, but one of the most important too.
You can isolate yourself, or you can throw yourself into the middle of the mix and try and make things a lot better.
Many local nonprofits here in Alaska are dedicated to bringing veterans together, and various service providers can help veterans, their families and friends deal with mental health issues such as PTSD. For more information, check out the full list of resources in our online story about this at KTUU.com. And to all the veterans out there, we thank you. We are grateful for you and the sacrifices near and far that you've made for our country. In Anchorage, I'm Beth Verge for Channel 2 News.